Let's go over the 10 major character traits of the Antichrist according to the Bible and look at how Trump matches each one of these. Number 1, the Antichrist has the mouth of a lion. Trump fulfills this first description of the Antichrist to such an extent, it's difficult to think of another candidate who even comes close. Interestingly, Trump and his supporters have even embraced lion imagery to represent him. Trump's lion-like roar instills fear in every single Republican, many of whom walk on eggshells so as to not make him angry. Number 2, the Antichrist is boastful and arrogant. Trump also fulfills this second description perfectly, and it's difficult to find anyone else even in the same ballpark. Trump not only brags of his own accomplishments, often exaggerating them to an extreme, but he bristles whenever he doesn't get all the credit he thinks he deserves. Number 3, the Antichrist denies the Father and the Son. Trump also fulfills this third description, having famously stated that he does not seek forgiveness from God, nor does he see the need to. I've yet to hear of any politician who has ever openly admitted that he does not need or seek God's forgiveness. Number 4, the Antichrist is a vile person. Trump also fulfills the fourth description, as his sordid lifestyle and propensity for denigrating and belittling other people is the very definition of vile. To be fair, although Trump is vile to an extreme, there are also other people who could fit this particular description. Number 5, the Antichrist throws truth to the ground. Trump also fulfills the fifth description, as he has a well-deserved reputation for playing fast and loose with the truth. Trump manipulates the truth so often that many of his supporters are almost immune to what he's doing. Once again, however, to be fair, there are also other people who could be described in this particular manner. Number 6, the Antichrist comes in his own name. Trump fulfills the sixth description so accurately that I am unable to think of anyone even remotely close. Trump used his worldwide fame to not only gain acceptance into the Christian evangelical community, but in a direct fulfillment of this Bible verse, Trump is now tremendously popular and even beloved in Israel. Number 7, the Antichrist has a covenant with many. Trump perfectly fulfills the seventh description with his Abraham Accords, an historic agreement among Israel and her neighbors. Personally, I am looking for the Abraham Accords to be confirmed when Trump returns to power, with many other nations joining. No other candidate for Antichrist fulfills this requirement quite like Trump. Number 8, the Antichrist loves gold. Trump exactly fulfills the eighth description with his obvious affection for gold in his properties, products, and even to how golden he wants to look. The number 666 in Revelation specifically points us to King Solomon's 666 talents of gold. It's almost impossible to find another candidate for the Antichrist being as obsessed with gold as Trump is. Number 9, the Antichrist honors the God of forces. Trump perfectly fulfills the ninth description, as his properties are a virtual shrine to the God of forces, aka the sun god, down to Apollo painted on the ceiling of his Trump Tower suite. We would be hard-pressed to find any other potential candidate for the Antichrist who so clearly fulfills the Daniel 11:38 prophecy. Number 10, the Antichrist is called the Little Horn. Trump precisely fulfills the 10th description, as the word Trump itself means trumpet or little horn. Once again, no other candidate comes close to matching this biblical verse about the little horn. Thus, we see that of the 10 major character traits of the Antichrist, Donald J. Trump not only matches them all, but a few of them he matches to such a degree that no one else even comes close. Let's take a brief look at how other people match these same traits. One name that's often thrown out there is Jared Kushner. Again, here's the list of the 10 character traits of the Antichrist. He has the mouth of a lion, he's boastful and arrogant, he denies the Father and Son, he is a vile person, he throws truth to the ground, he comes in his own name, he has a covenant with many, he loves gold, he honors the God of forces, and he is called the Little Horn. Of these 10 character traits of the Antichrist, Kushner is precisely the opposite of several of them. Rather than having the mouth of a lion, he is soft-spoken. He doesn't come across as boastful or arrogant, but quiet and almost demure. He was involved with the Abraham Accords, so that's one he matches. Being Jewish, one could argue that he denies the Father and Son. But of these 10 traits, he clearly doesn't match at least half of them, and perhaps as many as 8. Now look at Obama. Once again, Obama is precisely the opposite of many of these descriptions. He speaks haltingly, and there's no evidence of him loving gold or honoring the god of forces. One could argue that he was a politician, so he threw truth to the ground like all politicians do, but it's really stretching things to find even 3 or 4 matches with Obama. I won't go on with each and every name that is tossed around as possibly being the Antichrist, but you can look at this list of the 10 major character traits of the Antichrist and simply ask yourself if a certain person fits it. Does the Pope? Does Biden? Does Macron or Putin? What you'll find is that these other people may match 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 or 5 of the biblical descriptions, but not all 10, not even close. But there is one person who does indeed match all these descriptions, and he's right in front of us. That person is Donald J. Trump. And here's the ironic part. Year after year and decade after decade, conservative Christianity has been looking for someone to appear on the scene who would fit the biblical description of the Antichrist. But now that that person is here, they no longer seem to care. Is Donald J. Trump definitely the Antichrist? In my opinion, yes, he is. There is simply no one else who matches the biblical description of the Antichrist so precisely and so perfectly in every way. It's as if the Bible's descriptions are arrows, and each one of those arrows is pointing directly at Trump. Are there other candidates who also fit the biblical description of this figure? In my opinion, no, there are not. These so-called candidates may match a few, but they simply don't match all the character traits that the Bible tells us that the Antichrist will possess. And that's the important part. We can't pick and choose which of the biblical descriptions of the Antichrist matter and which don't. If a certain person only matches a few of these descriptions, but not others, then that person is not the Antichrist. Finally, I want to make one last point. I am certainly not a prophet, nor do I claim to be one. There are plenty of things I've gotten wrong in my earlier videos, and I'll likely get things wrong again. Just like you, I'm searching for the truth in these last days. I am, however, 100% convinced that Donald J. Trump is the Antichrist. You may not be, and that is fine. If you're not sure, I simply ask that you watch him closely over the coming months and years. Pay attention to what he says and does, and just as importantly, to what his supporters say and do in their quest to bring him back into power. All of us can feel the evil that is growing by the day, sowing discord, hatred, and a thirst for violence. And just off in the distance is the obscene specter of Donald J. Trump, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences, who is about to stand up. Even if you do not believe that this man is the Antichrist, like I do, please do not follow him or have anything to do with him. For if you do, he will surely lead you down the road to perdition. That's all for today. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video, and if you care to leave a comment, please do. As always, please be respectful in any comment you leave. I'll talk to you guys soon.